Hey yo, who's back in the newsfeed with another video? Dun 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 dun. Dyze, back in the newsfeed with yet another video. What is the word, peeps? What goes on? Jay Porks here. We are back with another edition in the COVIdeo series. That's right. Hashtag stay at home. Hashtag alone together. Hashtag stay safe. Here's what we're doing. We have, with COVID-19 and all this stuff happening, and a lot of people staying home and practicing measures, like washing their hands, like not touching things, like if you're a non-essential worker, and highlight essential for a second because we're going to talk about that in a minute. If you're a non-essential worker, you're not working. A lot of people are home right now, and that's kind of boring. So what I decided to do was, besides my weekly podcast, which I continue to shill on you every video, which is on SoundCloud, Dyze in Your House. It's soundcloud.com/Dyze in Your House, and you can get that every weekend. And what we do on the podcast is we fight fascism one podcast at a time, or one video at a time, as I'm learning here on the YouTube channel. So what we do is every weekend a new podcast drops. That's where you'll get a much better audio quality from me. I will say that. I mean, I have a better microphone, which is right here. I have a much better microphone. It's a lot more concise. I have notes. I don't have people watching me, so I can, make faces and, tell jokes and not have to, whatever. But the point is that you can listen to that every weekend on SoundCloud and also on Patreon. Patreon.com/JPorks. Now, the podcast used to be more comedically based, but then 2016 happened. So we do what we could with the hand that we're given. We must do what we can, and we must stay focused and keep our eyes on the prize. And the prize is saving democracy. And the prize is getting out there in November, voting Democrat down the line, and making sure that we put responsible leadership in place to help make sure that in the event that another pandemic is arising, a global pandemic begins to rise, when we have the snifflings of that, when we see the rumblings of that, what we need to do is have a team, a department in the government in place, a global pandemic squad, a global pandemic team made up of researchers, of scientists, and of doctors. And you need to have those people funded by the government in a room just watching the world, monitoring fevers, monitoring sickness, monitoring new sickness, old sickness, effects climate change is having on sickness, which, by the way, it's a big thing. It's not just a coincidence that the climate change is totally affecting our environment and also new diseases pop up. They are not exclusive. They are not, they are one and the same. They're not mutually exclusive. Or they are mutually exclusive. Anyway, they're a direct result of one another, is what I'm saying. This is one of the side effects of climate change. People get sick. Okay, so, but we no longer have that department of the government. We had one. Obama made one. And I'm pretty sure Bush had one. And I'm pretty sure a bunch of all administrations, Republican and Democrat, before this one, I'm sure they all had one. But now we have a Space Force. Literally no desire for that. But I digress. Fascism is not cool. Do you know? Alright, so something that's been popular, and I understand I've been doing the same tropes all week, but, I work on it. The people at my job, the people I work with, understand what I'm saying right now, because they're like, oh my god, he's doing it again. He's telling the same shtick, like, for the 5th time. Yeah, but I work it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I work, like, this video series, in the time I've done the videos. When it comes time to do the podcast, I'm like, boom, bang, bang. I'm like ready. I got a whole bunch of stuff because I worked it all out during the video series. And so there's a popular meme going around that's answering people complaining about having to stay home. And they're like, oh, people are complaining, you know, your grandparents went to war to fight for our freedom, and all you're asked to do is stay home and sit on your couch, and you're complaining. Well, whether that's accurate or not, I've debated. Because again, if there was social media back when fascism was rising, back when, thousands of Americans were going to war, like if there was more than 3 channels, I'm sure some of these soldiers would not be so thrilled about it. But anyhow, so your grandparents went to war to fight fascism. Hey Google, what is fascism?
According to Wikipedia, fascism is a form of far-right, authoritarian ultranationalism characterized by dictatorial power, forcible suppression of opposition, and strong regimentation of society and of the economy, which came to prominence in early 20th century Europe.
Sound familiar? Sounds exactly like what autocrats want. And the way to get there, an easy way to get there, is a virus that kills people. And then you lock down your country. That's how authoritarianism happens. Not saying only because of a virus, but they find a reason to lock down the country, is what I'm saying. And we can't let that happen. That's why we need to stay healthy, stay safe, wash your hands. Before I hit record, I washed my hands for way more than 20 seconds. Warm water, all that stuff. That's why you may see me, I touched my eye here because I got a thing on my eye. I need eye wash, which my dad will get for me. But the thing is that you have to wash your hands and you're not supposed to touch your face. That's bad for people like me because I'm a face toucher. And that's not good. I'm a face toucher. I'm a head toucher. But you have to practice hygiene. You have to wash your hands. You have to not touch things. Like if you're like me and when you go back to work, if you're going to get on the bus, you got to relax. Like you need a mask. Because you might have it. I'm not saying that these masks are protecting you from getting COVID. But you could be asymptomatic and you could not know that you have it. You might have like a little tiny bit of it. You might be just getting over it. But the masks help you stop spreading germs to others. So there is no debate about the masks. You should have them on when you're near people because you don't want them to get it in case you have it. Nobody's thinking that this mask is going to help me not get the virus. This mask is going to help me not spread the virus. And that's the key. And we have tons of companies making masks, and that's good. And again, the views and opinions expressed on my podcast and on my video series and on my YouTube page and on the internet in general are that of my own and not that of my employer. I have one view of my employer. Awesome. That's it. That's all I got. That's the only view of my employer that I share. Awesome. Love them. That's it. Past employers sucked. And that's not just because I'm currently employed. I've worked at shitty restaurants. So let's go over my last 2 jobs for a second. Para at a Catholic school. Hebrew. Para at a Catholic school. Worked with, helped forward the education of the youth of America. Worked with students that have IEPs, individual education plans. And that's what I did. And it was weird because I was Jewish every day. And I was Jewish every day. I was Jewish every day. But it was weird going there being Jewish and going to Mass once a week in school. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that was a job I had. It was not that hard of a job because it was Catholic school. It wasn't like public school. And that makes me want to hold up my public school made me sign that I got from ElizabethWarren.com. Sad. But public school made me. Public school should be makes a lot of America. So I wasn't on board with the whole thing in general, but I needed to get out of the restaurant business. And before that, I worked at restaurants. I was a waiter. And, I mean, I wasn't a good waiter. I didn't have, like, plates up the arm. I'd bring, like, one plate in each hand. Here you go. Oh, but there's 10 of us. Yeah, cool. And I'm going to make 5 more trips. But I would do this. I would say stupid things, and they wouldn't realize they were eating the wrong food. And I would, get good tips. But I couldn't, like, go to, like, the city and put on a tuxedo and work at, like, one of these real places where you know shit about the food. No, I don't know nothing. But I worked for Republican assholes in those places. And I'm just so glad that I'm not working in those places now, because in all 3 of the previous employers I just mentioned, 3 things would have happened. Well, not 3 things. These things would have happened in all 3 of them at the same time. The teacher's lounge would have been full of, oh my God, they're making such a big deal out of this. The owners of my previous 2 Italian restaurants that I worked at would do the same thing. They would leave their restaurants open until, I almost called him Mario Cuomo, and that's crazy because I'm not even that old, until Andrew Cuomo closed, all non-essential businesses. They would have stayed open and not had gloves and not thought it was a big deal. And it's a hoax, blah, 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 this and that. These are the people who I used to work for. I promise you that. And in all 3 of those jobs, the same thing would be clear. And it would be that when those jobs closed, I would not have work. In the school job, I would have had an easier chance of getting unemployment than I would as a waiter, but as an off-the-books waiter, I'm not getting unemployment. And, but still, that's only a certain amount of time. So, I mean, right now, to still be employed, even though I'm home, let's just say that's good, and I'm happy, I'm very happy, but I just really want to get back to work. And the fastest way that I'm going to get back to work is if everybody watching this video tells 20 other people to just please take these stay-at-home measures seriously. And everyone, if we can take these stay-at-home measures seriously, we could still have a lit summer, okay? And when I say lit summer, I mean lit summer. Because we're going to come out of this, and once we get in the clear, and once, there's more science done, like, let's just say we had that global pandemic squad, they would have already, that global pandemic response team or whatever, doctors, scientists, researchers, they would have already been looking into, like, mitigation methods, and, now we're waiting on tests to see if you've had COVID, are you immune to it for a certain period of time. There is belief that might be a thing, but they're still not sure. They're running tests. And I heard Fauci was on TV, and he said something about, there'll be a second wave of this in June, but we'll be ready for it or whatever. Yeah, well, we would have been ready for the first one had we had that team. But that team in 2018 was defunded, and they disbanded. And we need to put leadership in place that will make sure that something as irresponsible and reckless as that kills that many Americans never happens again. And the next time that there's a pandemic rising, America's going to lead the way. America's going to step up and say, we got you. Here's what you do. Boom, you do this. Bang, you do this. Coordinate. We are going to do it. Okay? And Joe Biden's a boring guy. I get it. He's not somebody he is somebody I'd want to see get high. That would be funny. That would be utterly hilarious. But, like, he's somebody who knows our allies around the world and has a way and would be able to coordinate efforts with non-authoritarian dictators. Not like Not the Maduros and the Putins and the not those people. And Kim Jong-un, not the murderous dictators. I'm talking about like actual Merkel, people like that, actual leaders. The one from New Zealand, she's real good. She had a good response to the massive the mass shooting. Speaking of mass shootings, I mean, I don't like people to die, but that is a good segue. You talk about essential and non-essential businesses, right? So obviously, I'm not a healthcare worker, and I don't work in a restaurant because I'm not working. Like restaurants they're not doing dine-in, but they're doing takeout, and I probably would have been working the phones or something if I was a waiter. But they are still doing takeout and delivery, and they're trying to, and they've been, people got to eat, so they will stay open. And there are businesses, we need to try to keep them in business as much as we could. Grocery stores are open. Pharmacies for medicine. I mean, I don't know if they're open or if they're like doing no contact stuff, but also hospitals are open. I don't work in any of those places, but those have been deemed essential businesses. Even some in California, I believe that the recreational marijuana stores are deemed essential because it's medication, which is accurate. So that's cool. I'm glad. But I got a text. You know when you get these texts from these 6-digit numbers, something 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 dash something something something, and it's usually like move on or something like this. Well, this was Sarah from Everytown. Everytown is a background checks, advocating for not strict gun laws, but advocating for common sense background checks. Because, we should have less people getting shot. So I got a text. And I didn't know that this was a thing. And I watch cable news all day and I did not know that this was a thing. So I'm going to share this with you. Hi, it's Sarah from Everytown. Trump has labeled gun stores as essential businesses during the COVID-19 pandemic. Sign our petition urging the fascist crime syndicate. I ad-libbed there. The fascist crime syndicate on to prioritize public health and safety over the NRA's extreme guns everywhere agenda. That's real quotes, not air quotes. Guns everywhere agenda. So I signed the petition. But gun stores are essential for what? If you have a gun, you have a gun. If you hunt, first of all, don't, because COVID comes from animals and you don't want to hunt. But also, gun stores are essential. They're not medicine. You can't get help there. They don't have food there. Why would gun stores be essential? What do you need gun stores for? I did not know gun stores were an essential business. And I believe that it's absolutely outrageous. And I don't mean to sound like, somebody standing in front of a podium running for public office. But I think it is absolutely outrageous and absurd that anybody would think that a store that sells killing machines is essential in being open at a time where we're trying to not kill humans. That's just me. Now, if I was a criminal, let's just say I was a hardened criminal, I would go to these towns on extreme lockdown, right? And I'd have the mask on because I want to cover my face anyway, and I would loot these small businesses that are staying closed during this time. And it would be a lot easier to do that if I had a gun. So therefore, I don't think we should be making it easier for people to obtain guns during this time of crisis. That's just me. We have members of the police force in every state who, when they, anybody in any business, you feel sick, you gotta go home. So we have a lot of, NYPD, they're home. A lot, not all of them, but there's a higher percentage are out sick right now than are usually. So there's less people protecting us. So what? We're gonna sell guns? What? So Ralph Wiggum in the flesh, like the adult version of Ralph Wiggum, can actually start his own militia, for real? It doesn't make any sense. It's sick. It's sick and twisted. This whole thing has been sick and twisted. Everything about this, the reaction, the response, the immediate rollout of the response, the constant changing of tones in the response, to now, finally, on May, whatever the freak day it is, we can, I don't know, I'm popular today. Now, we might be taking it seriously. And we're looking at mid-April as to the peak, which might be the peak of deaths. Crazy. And I live in New York. Density's a problem. My future in this state, in this city, will need to be rethought. Because I don't know how this is something, like when stuff like this, like I can't trust my peers, who vote with me. I can't trust them to elect leadership anymore because of this. I can't trust them to elect leadership that's going to be ready for the next time something like this happens. So that's frightening to me. So I might need to get out. Might need to get out of New York. Maybe I'll go to Oregon. I don't know. Anyway, before I get up on out of here, I want to thank... There are people, many people have reached out to me during this time and have said, hey, this is cool, the video series, that's cool what you're doing. I like it, I'm a fan. And you have no idea how much that means to me. And I just want everyone to know, from Tina, hey Mandy Ray, Andrea, I can't thank you guys enough. And everyone else that's favored a tweet or retweeted something or viewed it on YouTube, checked it out on SoundCloud. I appreciate you. And it's day 14. So I told you that this was going to be a 14-day series because I initially was off work for 14 days. But that's been extended. Cuomo's extended that. So I will reevaluate. We're going to reevaluate where this... I'm like this. We're going to reevaluate where this video series is going to go. Probably take a break tomorrow. I might. Or I might wake up and say, oh man, gotta do the video. It might just be something I do from now on. Might be a different format. I might have I might just not come on saying the same things every day. Maybe I'll have topics. Maybe I'll have articles. Maybe I'll read stuff. Maybe you can suggest stuff to me. So I'm still home and I'm still available. So I'd like everyone to just reach out to me and let me know, hey Jay, I would like you to do this. And if I don't do it, I'm sorry, but if I do it, cool. It's not... I'm not the smartest person. I do what I can. But, if you find something and you say, hey, you gotta check this out. But, also keep into mind that I have serious anxiety problems. And, if you're gonna tell me that, oh, I just found out something, I'm gonna be like, what? And you're gonna be like, everyone's gonna die. That's not gonna help me. So, SoundCloud.com/Dyze in your house. You would really be doing me a favor if you subscribe to me on there or whatever and listen to me on there, because SoundCloud's easy to use. Everyone uses SoundCloud, and I just paid for the Pro edition so I could upload as much stuff as I want, as unlimited time per month. So, and listen, if you're somebody I just thanked everyone that's reached out to me. If you're somebody that's been enjoying the video series, and you're somebody that's watched the majority of these videos and said, I like what's going on here, find me on social media somewhere, comment on the video, inbox me here, tweet me at jporks, tweet me at Least Coast Radio, slide in my DMs at Dyze in Your House on Instagram, snap me, Dyze in Your House on Snapchat. And what you can do is, if you'd like some personalized artwork sent to your house, I can do that for free. Contactless, of course. I have some drawings. That's one of the things we offer on Patreon. If you're a level 1 Least Coast Radiohead, you get personalized artwork every month. But if people want that, if you want some doodles from yours truly, just text me, get in touch with me, however you get in touch with me, and be like, hey, I'd like that. That sounds cool. Let me have that. And I will give it to you. Pause. Okay, so follow all those platforms. Go to SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/Dyze in Your House. Stay tuned for the podcast every weekend. And keep it locked to my Twitter, at jporks, and we will discuss how we're going to do videos going forward, what the time of day they're going to come out, what the length, what they're going to actually, the substance, what is actually, what it's going to be. But this has been the Dyze in Your House 14-day COVIDeo series. Hashtag stay at home. Hashtag stay healthy. Hashtag wash your hands. Hashtag vote blue 2020. We are taking our fucking country back before all of us are dead. J Porks, Dyze in Your House, exclusively on Least Coast Radio.